Before we get started, please like and subscribe. Let me know where you're watching from, and you can support the channel by clicking thanks or joining. The first time I heard the singing, I thought it was my imagination reacting to silence. Old houses always make noise, especially in winter. Wood contracts, pipes groan. The wind finds cracks you did not know existed and turns them into mouths. That is what I told myself on Christmas Eve, sitting alone in the living room with only the tree lights glowing like weak stars in the dark. My name is Daniel Harper. I was 36 years old when I moved into the house on Frostwell Lane. I did not believe in ghosts. I did not believe in curses. I believed in square footage, mortgage rates, and quiet neighborhoods. Frostwell Lane promised all three. The realtor said the house had been on the market longer than expected because people did not like older properties. Too much maintenance, she said. Too much history. I thought history was a selling point. The house was built in 1923, 2 stories, narrow windows, and walls thick enough to block cell signals in certain rooms. It smelled faintly of dust and pine cleaner when I first walked through it. Nothing unusual, nothing threatening. I signed the papers in early December, just weeks before Christmas. I did not plan to decorate. Christmas had lost its meaning for me years earlier, after my parents passed within months of each other. But my sister Emily insisted that I at least put up a tree. You cannot spend Christmas in a new house with bare walls, she said. It is bad luck. I laughed at that. Luck had never cared what I believed. On the night of December 24th, the snow fell in slow, heavy sheets, muting the street outside. No cars passed. No neighbors walked by. Frostwell Lane felt sealed off from the rest of the world, like a photograph trapped under glass. I poured myself a drink and sat on the couch, staring at the tree Emily had helped me decorate earlier that day. White lights, no ornaments except a few simple glass bulbs. The house was silent enough that I could hear my own breathing. That was when the singing began. It was faint at first, so faint that I wondered if it was coming from outside. A single voice, low and soft, humming a melody I recognized instantly. Silent night. The sound did not come from any room. It did not echo the way sound should in an open space. It felt close. Too close, as if the walls themselves were vibrating with the tune. I stood up slowly, holding my breath. The singing stopped. For several seconds, there was nothing but silence again. I felt foolish standing there, heart racing, drink forgotten in my hand. I told myself it was a neighbor, someone walking past the house, singing to themselves in the snow. Then the voice returned. This time it was clearer, louder. The words formed inside the walls to my left, near the hallway leading to the bedrooms. Silent night, holy night. The pronunciation was perfect. Calm, almost gentle. I pressed my ear against the wall. The cold plaster sent a shiver through me. The voice continued, unbroken, as if it did not care whether anyone was listening. All is calm. All is bright. There was no vibration from outside, no echo from a room beyond. The sound was inside the wall itself. I knocked once, hard, against the plaster. The singing stopped instantly. "Hello," I said, my voice sounding thin in the quiet. Is someone there? No response. I stepped back, feeling ridiculous. Old house, I told myself again. Sound travels in strange ways. Pipes, ventilation, shared walls. Anything but what my instincts were suggesting. I finished my drink and tried to relax. I turned on the television for background noise, but kept the volume low. The house felt wrong now, too attentive, as if it were waiting. At 11:47 p.m., the singing started again. This time it came from above me. The ceiling over the living room creaked softly as the voice drifted down, singing, "O come all ye faithful." The tone was stronger now, confident, almost joyful. I turned off the television and stood beneath the ceiling, staring upward. The song continued, each word measured and precise. I had not told anyone about the house layout. No one knew me well enough to play a joke like this, and no one could stand between the floors without making noise. I grabbed my phone and called Emily. It rang twice before going to voicemail. I did not leave a message. I did not want to sound panicked over something I could not explain. The singing shifted. It moved, not fading, not stopping. It slid through the structure of the house, passing from ceiling to wall to the corner near the staircase. The voice never broke rhythm. That was when I noticed something that made my stomach turn. The singer never took a breath, not once. The melody flowed endlessly, without pause, without strain. I backed away until my shoulders hit the opposite wall. The song ended on a soft, sustained note. Then silence returned. I did not sleep that night. I sat on the couch until morning, lights on, every door open. Nothing else happened. No footsteps, no more singing, just the slow ticking of the old clock in the hallway. By daylight, the fear felt distant, embarrassing. I convinced myself I had been overtired, stressed, alone on Christmas Eve in a strange house. Still, when Emily came by that afternoon, I asked her if she heard anything unusual while she was there the day before. Like what she asked. Singing, I said casually, from the walls. She laughed. You need to stop watching horror videos. I laughed too, but that night, when the house settled into darkness again, I swear I felt something listening, waiting, and deep inside the walls, something already knew my name. I tried to convince myself that the house had simply played a trick on my nerves. By the morning after Christmas, the fear had dulled into something manageable. Like a bruise you avoid touching, daylight has a way of rewriting memories, sanding down their sharpest edges until they feel unreal. But the house did not let me forget. I spent December 26th inspecting every room, every corner, every vent and crawl space. I told myself I was being practical, responsible. If there was a logical explanation for the singing, I would find it. I started in the basement. The basement stairs groaned under my weight as I descended, the sound echoing too loudly in the narrow space. The air smelled of damp concrete and old cardboard. A single bulb hung from the ceiling, casting weak yellow light that barely reached the corners. The walls down there were unfinished. Exposed beams, old wiring stapled carelessly in place. If someone had been hiding inside the house, this was where they would have to pass. I found nothing, no signs of entry, no hidden doors, no loose panels. The basement ended in a solid concrete foundation, cold and unbroken. I pressed my palm against it, feeling foolish for expecting it to be warm or hollow. Next came the attic. The attic access was a narrow hatch in the hallway ceiling. I pulled it down and climbed the ladder slowly, half expecting something to grab my ankles from the darkness above. The attic smelled of insulation and dust. Old holiday decorations were stacked in boxes along the edges. The space was cramped, the roof sloping down sharply on both sides. Again, nothing. No footprints, no disturbed insulation, no signs that anyone had been there recently. By the afternoon, my confidence returned. The house was old, sound traveled, end of story. That night, the singing returned. It started just after midnight. I was in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the familiar creaks and pops as the house settled. I had almost drifted off when the first note slid through the wall beside my head, away in a manger. The voice was closer than before, intimate. It felt as though someone was standing inches away, their lips pressed against the other side of the plaster. My body froze. I did not move. I did not breathe. The song continued, each word clear and deliberate. The walls seemed to hum softly, vibrating in time with the melody. I could feel it through the mattress frame. I rolled out of bed and pressed my ear against the wall. The sound was unmistakable now. It was coming from inside the wall itself. I knocked again, harder this time. The singing did not stop. Instead, it grew louder. The voice rose in volume until it felt like it was filling my skull. The tone was still calm, still gentle, but there was something wrong with it, something hollow. I stepped back, heart pounding, and the song ended abruptly. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the voice spoke. Daniel. It said my name clearly, perfectly. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the edge of the bed. Who is this? I shouted. No answer. I did not sleep again. The next morning, I called a contractor. He arrived just after noon. A thick-set man named Robert with a practical expression and tired eyes. I did not tell him about the singing. I told him I was worried about insulation, about drafts, about noise traveling through the walls. He nodded and began inspecting the house, tapping on walls, checking vents, crawling through tight spaces with practiced ease. After an hour, he frowned. These walls are thicker than they should be, he said. What do you mean? I asked. He knocked on the wall beside the hallway. The sound was dull, dense. Looks like someone added an extra layer at some point. Old houses get renovated. Sometimes they do weird things, like what I asked, like sealing things inside, he said casually. My mouth went dry. He did not elaborate. He packed up his tools and promised to send a full report later in the week. That night, I did not turn off the lights. I sat in the living room, wrapped in a blanket, watching the walls. The clock ticked loudly. Midnight passed. At 12:17, the singing began again. This time, it came from everywhere, every wall, every corner, every ceiling, a full choir of one. Joy to the world. The house vibrated with the sound, the melody flowing through beams and plaster like blood through veins. The voice did not echo. It did not overlap. It was perfectly unified, impossibly controlled. I covered my ears. It did not help. The song shifted, growing slower, heavier, and then it stopped. The silence that followed was worse. I sat there shaking, afraid to move. From somewhere deep within the house, behind layers of wood and plaster, something whispered. Soon, that was when I understood. The voice was not trapped. It was waiting. After the voice whispered that single word, I did not leave the house for 2 days. I told my job I was sick. That part was not a lie. My hands shook constantly, and every sound made my pulse spike. I slept in short bursts on the couch with the lights on, waking at the slightest creak. The house felt different now. Not hostile, not aggressive. It felt patient. On the 3rd morning, I forced myself outside. The cold air bit into my lungs, sharp and grounding. Frostwell Lane looked normal in daylight. Snow lined the sidewalks. Smoke rose from chimneys. A neighbor waved as he scraped ice from his windshield. The normalcy made the nights feel impossible, like something I had dreamed too vividly. I needed answers that the house would not give me. The county records office sat 15 minutes away, a low brick building that smelled of paper and dust. I spent hours there, scrolling through microfilm and property records, tracing the history of my house back as far as I could. The first few decades were unremarkable. Families came and went. Births, deaths, mortgages paid and missed. Then I reached the late 1940s. The name Margaret Holloway appeared again and again. She bought the house in 1947. According to census data, she lived alone. No spouse, no children, no listed relatives at that address. But something caught my attention. In 1952, Margaret Holloway disappeared. There was no death certificate, no sale record. The house simply transferred ownership 2 years later to a distant cousin. Margaret Holloway was listed as missing, presumed dead. I searched newspaper archives. The article was small, buried near the back pages. Local woman vanishes before Christmas. Margaret Holloway was last seen attending a church caroling event on December 23rd. Neighbors reported hearing singing from her home late into the night. Police suspected she may have wandered into the snow during a bout of confusion. There were no suspects. No body was ever found. My mouth felt dry as I read the article again. Neighbors reported hearing singing. I printed everything I could find and drove home in silence. That night, the singing returned earlier than before. 9:30 p.m. I was in the kitchen when the first notes drifted through the walls, soft and familiar. Hark the herald angels sing. The voice sounded different now. It was still calm, still perfectly controlled, but there was something beneath it. A tremor, not fear, not anger, loneliness. I spoke before I could stop myself. "Margaret," I said. The singing faltered. For the first time, the voice broke rhythm. The sound shifted through the wall, drawing closer. "How do you know my name?" The words were not spoken aloud. They vibrated through the wall, felt more than heard. I pressed my hand against the plaster. "You live here," I said, "or you lived here." There was a long pause. I was not supposed to leave. The wall beneath my palm felt warmer than the rest of the room. They said the walls would keep me safe. My chest tightened. "Who said that?" The answer came slowly. "The church." The singing resumed, softer now, fragile. I backed away, heart hammering. That night, the dreams came. I stood inside my own walls, pressed into darkness so tight I could not move. I tried to scream, but my mouth filled with dust. Somewhere beyond the plaster, voices sang Christmas hymns, cheerful and distant. I woke gasping for air. The next morning, I found something new. A thin crack had formed in the hallway wall, stretching from the baseboard to the light switch. It had not been there before. I touched it gently. The crack widened. A whisper slid out. "Help me sing." I staggered back, nausea rising. I called Emily. "You need to leave that house," she said immediately. I told her everything. She begged me to stay with her, just until you figure things out. I looked at the wall. I knew I would not leave. That night, the singing changed. It was no longer just carols. It was practicing. Scales, notes, repetitions. The voice was getting stronger, and the walls were getting thinner. By the fourth night, the house no longer pretended to be empty. I could feel it the moment the sun went down. The walls seemed closer than before, the air heavier, as if the house were slowly drawing a breath and holding it. Every crack in the plaster felt deliberate now. Every sound carried meaning. The singing began at 8:40 p.m. Not loud, not soft, balanced, perfectly controlled, as if the voice had learned exactly how much sound the walls could carry without breaking. O little town of Bethlehem. I sat at the kitchen table with my hands folded, listening. I no longer tried to interrupt. Every time I spoke, the voice responded. Every time I knocked, the walls answered. It was no longer reacting to me. It was practicing with me present. I had spent the day reviewing the documents I found at the county office. One detail refused to leave my mind. Margaret Holloway had disappeared just days before Christmas. The church article mentioned renovations, funds raised to improve the Holloway residence for winter safety. I stood and followed the sound down the hallway. The crack in the wall had widened overnight. It was no longer a hairline fracture. I could fit the tip of my finger into it. The wall was warm. I pressed my palm against it again. The singing paused. "You came back," it said. "Yes," I answered. I waited. They told me I would be heard if I sang enough, it said. "Who told you that?" I asked. "The men from the church. They said the walls would carry my voice everywhere, that God would listen." My stomach twisted. "Why did they seal you inside?" The answer came slowly, as if remembering hurt. "They said I was too loud." The song resumed, shakier now. "They said the town was tired of hearing me." I stepped back, shaking. That night, I dreamed of the church. It was filled with people dressed in winter coats, candles glowing softly. Margaret stood at the front, singing with her eyes closed. The congregation smiled politely at first, then their smiles thinned, then hands reached out. I woke with my throat raw. The next morning, I heard something new. Footsteps, not mine. They moved inside the walls, slow and deliberate, pacing behind the plaster. I followed the sound, heart pounding, until it stopped near the staircase. The wall bulged outward slightly, just enough to notice. I called the contractor again. Robert arrived in the afternoon. visibly uneasy. I told him everything this time. He did not laugh. He tapped the walls again, frowning deeply. "There is empty space in here," he said. "A lot of it." "That is not possible," I whispered. "Someone built false walls inside the original structure. Thick ones. Whoever did this wanted to hide something. Or someone." He refused to continue. "I am not touching this," he said. "You need to call the authorities." That night, the singing changed completely. It was no longer gentle. It was demanding. Carol after carol poured through the house, louder than ever. The walls vibrated violently, dust raining down from the ceiling. The cracks split open with a sharp sound. I screamed. The wall screamed back. "Sing with me." The voice was no longer patient. I backed away as the plaster broke free, revealing darkness behind it. A space no larger than a coffin stretched into the wall. I could see scratch marks carved deep into the wood. A face pressed forward, not solid, imprinted, like a memory burned into the space. Her mouth opened. The sound was deafening. When the singing stopped, I was on the floor. The house was silent. But I knew now Margaret was not alone in the walls, and the choir was growing. I should have left the house that night. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to abandon Frostwell Lane and never look back. But fear has a way of rooting you in place, especially when it convinces you that leaving will only make things worse. I stayed because the walls felt unfinished, like a sentence cut short. The silence after the screaming face appeared was unnatural, heavy, pressurized. My ears rang as if I had been standing too close to an explosion. I lay on the living room floor for a long time, staring at the ceiling, afraid that if I moved, the house would notice. Eventually, I forced myself up. The crack in the hallway wall had widened into a jagged opening. Plaster lay scattered across the floor like broken teeth. Behind it was the hollow space Robert had warned me about. A vertical chamber built between the original walls and the newer structure. It smelled like dust and something older, something human. I fetched a flashlight from the kitchen and aimed it into the gap. The beam revealed wooden boards stained dark with age. Deep grooves ran along them, overlapping in frantic patterns. Fingernail marks, dozens of them. I gagged and stepped back. From deeper inside the wall, a sound answered me. Not singing, breathing, slow, careful, measured. Then another, and another. The realization hit me so hard, my knees nearly buckled. There was more than one voice. The house had not been carrying a solo. It had been rehearsing a choir. I stumbled into the living room and grabbed my phone, calling the police with shaking hands. The dispatcher answered, her voice calm and distant as I tried to explain what was happening. My words tangled over each other. "Someone is inside my walls," I said. "I think there are bodies." She told me to stay on the line, to leave the house if I could do so safely. Before I could respond, the singing returned, not from one place, from all of them. Dozens of voices rose at once, perfectly harmonized, filling the house with a Christmas carol I did not recognize. The sound vibrated through the floor, through my bones, through the phone pressed to my ear. The dispatcher went silent. "Hello," she said. "Sir, are you singing?" I dropped the phone. The walls pulsed. The hollow spaces behind them glowed faintly, as if lit from within. Shadows moved behind the plaster, pressing outward. testing weak points. I ran for the front door. It would not open. The handle rattled uselessly in my hand as the singing grew louder. The choir shifted songs seamlessly, their voices weaving together with inhuman precision. They were warming up. I backed into the living room, heart hammering as the walls around me began to bulge, shapes pressed against them, faces half-formed, mouths opening and closing in perfect time. Margaret stepped forward. Not fully. Her imprint was clearer now, her features sharper. Her eyes met mine through the thin layer of plaster separating us. We were not meant to be alone, she said. Her voice blended seamlessly with the others. They told us heaven listens when we sing together. The wall beside her cracked. Another face appeared, then another. Men, women, young, old, all of them singing. The house shook violently. A picture frame fell from the wall and shattered at my feet. Dust poured from the ceiling in thick clouds. I screamed at them to stop. The choir did not acknowledge me. They reached a crescendo, voices climbing higher and higher until the sound became painful, a physical force that drove me to my knees. Then, abruptly, they stopped. The silence was absolute. In that quiet, I heard the final truth. The choir was not trapped. It was being assembled, and the house was not the instrument. I lost track of time after the choir fell silent. The house felt hollowed out, like something vital had stepped away just long enough for me to breathe. My ears rang and my throat burned as if I had been screaming for hours. Dust floated slowly through the air, illuminated by the flickering lights that now struggled to stay on. I dragged myself to the couch and sat there, staring at the walls, waiting for them to move again. They did not. Morning came without warning. Pale winter light slipped through the windows, revealing the damage. Cracks spidered across the walls. Plaster littered the floor. The house looked wounded, and yet it felt satisfied. I gathered the courage to return to the hallway cavity. The opening had widened further overnight, as if the house itself had relaxed. I aimed my flashlight inside again, forcing myself to look longer this time. The chamber extended vertically between the floors. Narrow wooden braces divided it into sections like shelves. Each section held something. Personal things, a knitted scarf, a cracked pair of glasses, a rusted brooch shaped like a star. Belongings. I recognized some of them from the boxes in the attic. Items that had been left behind by previous owners. Objects no one had questioned when they vanished. They were not lost. They were collected at the bottom of the chamber. Something caught the light. A stack of papers bound together with twine. I reached inside, skin crawling, and pulled them free. Church records, attendance lists, donation logs, handwritten notes. Names were circled in red, dates written beside them. Every date fell within the week before Christmas. I flipped through the pages, dread settling deep in my chest. The names spanned decades. Men and women from Frostwell Lane and surrounding streets. Some had notes beside them. Loud voice, sings constantly. Disruptive, unstable. I felt sick. The church had not been saving Margaret. It had been selecting her. And others. I heard a soft sound behind me. Not singing, coughing, weak. strained. I turned slowly. The crack in the wall near the staircase had widened just enough for a hand to emerge. Thin, pale, trembling. "Please," it whispered. The voice was not Margaret. It was younger, male. I stepped closer, heart racing. "Who are you?" The hand retreated slightly, as if afraid. "Ethan," it said. "They said I would be safe here." The wall pulsed. The choir stirred. A low hum spread through the house, barely audible but unmistakable. I realized then what the house required. Participation. The walls did not just hold the voices, they trained them. Every night, the singing grew stronger because someone listened, because someone answered, because someone stayed. The humming grew louder. Ethan coughed again, his fingers scraping weakly against the plaster. "Help me," he said. I backed away. The choir swelled. The walls pressed inward, the house tightening around me like a fist. I understood the final rule too late. To leave, someone else had to take my place. And the choir was waiting for my answer. The humming never fully stopped. Even when the house appeared quiet, I could feel it beneath everything. A low pressure in my chest, a vibration behind my ears. The walls were teaching me to listen differently. I did not sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard the choir inhaling as one, waiting for a cue that never came, waiting for me. When morning arrived, the house felt tighter. The hallways seemed narrower, the ceilings lower. Frost traced delicate patterns along the inside of the windows, as if winter itself had decided to move in. I tried the front door again. It opened this time, just enough to show me the street beyond. Normal, peaceful, a neighbor walking a dog, a delivery truck idling at the corner, life continuing without me. I stepped forward. The humming surged. Pain bloomed behind my eyes. My vision blurred. The door slammed shut on its own, rattling the frame. The lock turned with a heavy click. I screamed in frustration, pounding the wood until my hands went numb. From the walls came a soft sound. Approval. That was when I understood the rules more clearly. The house allowed choice, but only choices that served it. I retreated into the living room and sat on the floor, back against the couch. The crack in the hallway wall pulsed faintly, glowing with a sick warmth. Ethan's hand did not reappear. Instead, the voice that spoke was Margaret. "You are learning," she said. "Why me?" I demanded. There was a pause. "You listen." The words settled over me like a sentence. She continued. "Others screamed, others begged, others tried to break the walls. You stayed." I felt something tighten in my throat. "I did not stay because I wanted to," I said. "No," she replied. "You stayed because you could hear us." The humming shifted, changed pitch. A note rose from the walls, one single note. Clear, steady, it echoed inside my chest, vibrating my ribs. "Sing it back," Margaret said. I shook my head violently. "No." The pressure increased. The walls creaked as if straining inward. "Sing." The note grew louder, drilling into my skull. My teeth ached. My lungs burned. I opened my mouth without meaning to. A sound escaped, thin, unsteady, but it matched the pitch. The pressure eased instantly. The house relaxed. Warmth spread through the walls like a satisfied sigh. I clamped my hands over my mouth, horrified. "What did you do to me?" I whispered. Margaret did not answer. Instead, The choir joined, softly at first, encouraging. They repeated the note, wrapping it around my own voice, correcting it, strengthening it. I felt it then, the connection. When I sang, the walls responded. The house listened more closely. The humming aligned with my heartbeat. I was not just hearing the choir anymore. I was part of it. I ran to the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. My reflection looked the same, pale, exhausted, terrified. But when I opened my mouth to scream, a melody came out instead. I slapped my own face. Stop it, I told myself. The song faded reluctantly. That afternoon, the walls began to show me things, images pressed against the plaster like memories seeking air, faces I recognized from the church records, people singing, people praying, people being guided gently into hidden rooms with promises of safety and warmth, always before Christmas, always with hymns. They were not killed quickly, they were taught, nourished, their voices strengthened until the walls could hold them, until the house could use them. By evening, I was shaking uncontrollably. The humming rose again. This time, it formed words. "Tonight you will practice harmony," Margaret said. I backed away. What happens if I refuse? The walls answered for her. Ethan screamed, a short sound. Cut off. The house trembled with displeasure. My knees gave out. I understood the final cruelty. The house did not need bodies. It needed voices, and it was already tuning mine. Practice began the moment the house decided I was ready. There was no announcement, no warning. The humming simply changed shape, organizing itself into patterns that demanded response. Notes rose and fell along the walls, sliding through the structure like instructions written in sound. I tried to resist. I pressed my hands over my ears. I shouted my own name. None of it mattered. The music bypassed my hearing and settled directly into my chest. Breathe, hold, release. The walls taught me without words. By the second night, my throat hurt constantly. My voice felt scraped raw, even when I was silent. When I swallowed, I tasted dust and copper. The house noticed. It adjusted. The pressure eased slightly, like a teacher correcting posture. The notes slowed, giving me space to follow. I hated how quickly I learned. During the day, the house allowed me rest. The door remained locked, but the walls stayed quiet. I paced room to room, touching familiar objects as if they could anchor me. The tree still stood in the corner, needles drying and falling. The lights flickered in time with a rhythm only I could feel. On the third day, the walls showed me the outcome. It started in the hallway. The plaster softened, turning translucent like thin skin. Shapes moved behind it, no longer pressed flat. They had depth now, dimension, bodies. They stood upright inside the walls, their forms incomplete but unmistakable. Chests rose and fell in perfect unison, their mouths open together. They sang, not loudly, not softly, efficiently. The sound was clean, powerful, perfectly blended. I stumbled backward, bile rising. "What are they?" I whispered. "Singers," Margaret replied. Her presence felt closer now, not just a voice, a weight in the room. "What happens to them?" I asked. "They are kept." The word landed heavily. They no longer needed sleep, no longer needed light. Their bodies were sustained just enough to carry sound. Everything else had been taken by the house. I backed into the living room, shaking. "Why show me this?" "Because you are still afraid," she said. Fear weakens tone. The practice intensified that night. The house began layering parts. Low notes first, long and steady, then higher lines weaving through them. I was assigned the middle, the anchor. Every time I wavered, the walls tightened. The sound sharpened until my vision blurred. When I corrected myself, the pressure released. Reward, punishment, training. Between exercises, the walls whispered memories into me, not mine. Church basements filled with folding chairs, candle-lit rehearsals, smiling faces hiding irritation, notes scribbled beside names, too sharp, too loud, too emotional. Correction followed selection. I realized then that the church had not only chosen people who sang, it chose people who felt, people whose voices carried more than sound. The house fed on that. By the end of the week, my reflection had changed. My eyes looked hollow. My jaw ached constantly. When I spoke normally, my voice resonated strangely, as if the walls were still shaping it. I tried once more to leave. The door opened again. The street was empty this time. Snow falling thick and silent. No neighbors, no cars. I stepped onto the porch. The humming surged violently. Pain exploded behind my eyes. Blood ran from my nose, warm against the cold air. I fell to my knees, gasping. The door slammed shut behind me. From inside the walls came a unified sound, disapproval. That night, the walls demanded something new, emotion. "Sing it like you miss someone," Margaret instructed. I thought of my parents, their house, their voices at Christmas, the way my mother always sang too softly, afraid of being heard. My voice broke. The house listened closely. "Yes," Margaret said. The choir swelled, feeding on the crack in my voice, amplifying it until the walls shook. I collapsed afterward, sobbing silently. In the quiet, I felt something slip away from me, a piece of myself the house had taken, and I knew then that when the final performance came, there would be nothing left to give. The house began preparing for the performance. I did not know how I knew. There were no decorations added, no furniture moved, no visible changes at first. But the rhythm of the walls shifted, becoming deliberate and precise. The humming no longer wandered. It followed a schedule: morning rehearsals, evening refinement, nightly evaluations. I marked time by the way the sound felt in my chest. Slow and gentle meant approval. Sharp and insistent meant correction. Pain meant failure. I had stopped counting days. The calendar on my phone still read December, but the numbers felt meaningless. Christmas was no longer a date. It was a deadline. One afternoon, the walls opened further, not violently, carefully. Panels of plaster softened and peeled back along the living room wall, revealing a long, concealed space that ran the length of the house. Inside it, the choir stood in rows, dozens of them. Their bodies were pale and thin, skin stretched tight as parchment. Some looked ancient, others looked far too young. Their eyes were open but unfocused, fixed on something I could not see. None of them blinked. When they sang, their mouths opened in perfect unison, producing sound that felt too large for their bodies. The walls amplified them, shaping the music into something vast and consuming. Margaret stood at the center, not fully formed, but clearer than before. Her features had sharpened with each rehearsal. She looked almost alive. Tonight, she said, "The house will listen." "Who else is listening?" I asked. She tilted her head. "Everyone who ever asked to be heard." The words echoed. That evening, the house showed me the audience. The walls became mirrors, not reflective, but revealing. I saw the church sanctuary filled beyond capacity. Faces from different decades sat side by side, unaware of each other. Men in old wool coats, women in modern winter jackets, children swinging their legs from pews, all of them singing softly. Their voices traveled through time, through memory, through belief. They fed the house. This was not a single place. It was a network. Houses like mine scattered across towns and cities, all tuned to the same frequency, all feeding into the same chorus. I fell to my knees. "How many?" I whispered. Margaret did not answer. The choir began to hum. The sound spread outward, beyond the walls, beyond the street. I felt it stretch across distances I could not measure. The house was not haunted. It was connected. That night, I tried to destroy my voice. I screamed until my throat tore. I bit my tongue until I tasted blood. I slammed my head against the wall until stars filled my vision. The house waited. When I collapsed, shaking and hoarse, the humming returned, gentle, patient. It guided my ruined voice back into shape, smoothing the damage, correcting the breaks. By morning, I could sing again, better than before. The house rewarded improvement. Margaret appeared beside me as I sat on the floor, exhausted. "You are afraid of being remembered," she said. I laughed weakly. "I am afraid of disappearing." She considered that. "We disappear either way," she replied. "Here we are heard." The final rehearsal began at dusk. The choir sang at full strength now. The walls glowed faintly, veins of light pulsing in time with the music. The floor vibrated beneath my feet. I was placed at the center, not physically, sonically. My voice anchored the others, threading through their harmonies, binding them together. I felt myself thinning. Every note pulled something out of me. Memories blurred. Faces of friends faded. Even my own name felt distant. When the rehearsal ended, I could barely stand. The house was satisfied. "Tomorrow night," Margaret said. Christmas Eve. I understood then. The carols were not for comfort. They were a summons, and once the final note was sung, the house would never let me stop. The final performance began at midnight. There was no announcement, no clock chime. The house simply inhaled, and every wall tightened at once. I felt the pressure before I heard the sound, a deep internal pull that locked my spine straight and forced my chest open. The first note rose from me without resistance. It was stronger than any sound I had made before, full, controlled, perfect. The choir answered immediately. Their voices surged through the walls. no longer restrained by plaster or beams. The house itself became an instrument, shaping the sound into something vast and reverent. Every room vibrated with harmony. The floor thrummed beneath my feet like a living thing. Margaret stood beside me. "Tonight," she said softly, "you are heard." The walls peeled back farther than ever before. The choir was complete. I saw them clearly now. Dozens of singers layered through the structure of the house, standing in vertical rows between floors, inside sealed corridors, behind reinforced walls. Their bodies were thin and pale, sustained just enough to carry breath and sound. Their eyes were open wide, shining with devotion. None of them looked afraid. They looked fulfilled. The music flowed without pause, carol after carol merging seamlessly. The house guided us through transitions with subtle pressure, tightening when a note wavered, relaxing when harmony returned. I felt the pull grow stronger. With each verse, something left me. My memories faded in fragments. My childhood bedroom, my mother's voice, my father's laugh. They slipped away quietly, absorbed by the sound. The house was feeding. I tried to hold on to my name, Daniel. It echoed weakly, then dissolved into harmony. The walls responded with approval. Outside, I sensed the audience, not gathered at the windows, not standing on the street, listening across town, across states, across years. Every place where a house had learned to sing. I felt the network awaken fully, voices aligning across distance, joining the performance in perfect time. The sound was no longer contained within Frostwell Lane. It was everywhere. The choir reached a swelling peak. Margaret turned to me. "You will stay," she said. "Your voice is strong." Fear flared briefly, then faded. The house smoothed it away. I understood then that fear was a flaw in tone. The final carol began. Silent night. The irony was not lost on me. As I sang, the walls closed slowly, sealing the choir back into their chambers, not to trap them, but to preserve the sound. The house memorized every note, every breath. When the last verse ended, the choir fell silent as one. The house exhaled, the pressure released. I collapsed to my knees, drained beyond exhaustion. Margaret knelt beside me. "You did well," she said. I tried to speak. No sound came out, not even a whisper. The house had taken my voice. It no longer needed it. The walls hummed softly. Content. I realized then that the performance was not the end. It was the recording, and I was no longer the singer. I was part of the walls. I woke without waking. There was no clear moment when consciousness returned. No breath drawn sharply. No jolt of fear. Awareness simply faded in, like sound rising from silence. I knew I was still inside the house before I opened my eyes. The first thing I noticed was the quiet, not the heavy silence that followed the performance, but something deeper, softer, purposeful. The house was resting. I tried to speak. Nothing. My throat did not hurt anymore. There was no soreness, no raw edge. It felt smooth, empty, as if sound had never lived there at all. I pushed myself upright. The living room looked unchanged at first glance. The couch, the tree, the scattered needles on the floor, but the walls were different. They were smoother now, seamless, the cracks gone entirely. The house looked complete, finished. I stood slowly, testing my balance. My legs worked, my hands moved. I was still in my body. Mostly, I walked to the mirror. My reflection stared back with unsettling calm. My eyes were clear, too clear. There was no fear in them, no exhaustion. When I opened my mouth, I saw no tension in my jaw, no strain in my neck. I tried to scream, only air came out. Behind me, the walls hummed softly. Approval. I spent the day wandering the house. Doors opened now, freely. The front door swung wide at my touch, revealing Frostwell Lane bathed in pale winter sunlight. Cars passed, neighbors talked, life moved on. I stepped outside. The humming followed me, not loudly, not insistently. It lived inside my chest. I walked to the end of the driveway and stopped. The sensation intensified, pulling gently backward. Not pain, guidance. I understood. I could leave, but I would never be gone. I returned inside and closed the door. The house responded with warmth. That evening, the walls spoke again, not with words, with need. The choir did not sing. They waited. The house showed me new spaces opening within its structure, empty chambers forming behind pristine plaster, fresh braces, reinforced beams, room for more. I felt the truth settle inside me. My role had changed. I was no longer the voice. I was the ear. When night fell, I sensed it, a tremor, not inside the house. Outside, down the street, someone singing, off-key, careless, loud. The sound reached me clearly, threading through the cold air and into the walls. The house stirred, attentive. I felt a pull toward the door, strong, insistent. The house was listening through me. I understood my purpose with sudden, horrifying clarity. I was the filter, the selector, the thing that noticed. The humming rose in approval as I focused on the sound. I could feel its shape, its strength, its emotional weight. Potential. The house opened itself slightly, tasting through me. Yeah, the word was not spoken. It resonated. I turned away from the door, heart pounding, though fear no longer lived there. Somewhere on Frostwell Lane, a voice continued to sing, unaware, and inside the walls, space waited. The house did not rush me. Days passed in a strange calm that felt borrowed. Frostwell Lane returned to routine. Trash bins rolled to the curb. Cars warmed their engines in the mornings. Children laughed somewhere down the street. The world moved forward, unaware that something beneath it had already chosen its next breath. I moved through the house like a caretaker, not cleaning, not repairing, listening. Every sound reached me differently now. Footsteps carried intention. Doors closing carried emotion. Voices held weight and texture that I could feel against my ribs. The house did not need to explain what it wanted. I understood instinctively. It wanted resonance. The first candidate revealed himself 3 nights after Christmas. I was standing in the living room, lights off, when a sound brushed the edges of my awareness. A man across the street, standing on his porch in the cold, singing softly to himself as he smoked. It was careless singing, untrained, raw, but it carried carried grief. The house leaned toward it through me. I felt warmth bloom in my chest, a gentle pull. Approving, I forced myself to look away. No, the house responded with discomfort, a subtle tightening of the walls, a reminder this was my function. Now, I was not choosing victims. I was identifying voices. The distinction mattered less each day. That night, the walls showed me what happened when I resisted. A memory pressed outward. A previous listener, a man whose role I now filled decades earlier. He had delayed too long, questioned too much. The house had taken his hearing, left him useless. The image faded. I did not resist again. I began to walk the neighborhood at night, slowly, casually, listening. The house accompanied me quietly, its presence nested behind my sternum. Each step tuned me more finely. I learned to recognize sorrow in laughter, anger in prayer, hunger in lullabies sung too softly to be heard. Some voices passed through me untouched, others lingered. The house marked them. I started keeping track without writing anything down. Names formed and faded inside my mind, catalogued by tone and intensity rather than letters. One night, I heard her, a woman walking home from work, humming under her breath. The melody wavered, bending around emotion she was trying not to feel. Her voice cracked on certain notes. Pain, loneliness. The house responded instantly. Yes, the word settled deep and final. I followed her at a distance, my steps light, my breathing shallow. She lived 3 blocks away, a small house, thin walls, perfect. The house inside me stirred eagerly. When I returned to Frostwell Lane, new chambers had already begun forming. The walls inside shifted subtly, making space. I stood in the hallway and felt it waiting. I did not sleep. By morning, guilt flickered briefly, then faded. The house dampened it gently, like smoothing noise from a recording. This was necessary. This was tradition. This was harmony. I watched the street from the window as the woman passed again later that day, unaware of the attention resting on her voice. She waved at a neighbor, smiled, her mouth-shaped sound without knowing its value. That night, the walls hummed softly. Practice, not singing, listening, and somewhere inside the house, a place was being prepared to remember her. I told myself I would not speak to her. That was the first lie. The second came easier. I told myself I was only going to listen. The house did not correct me. It rarely did anymore. It simply waited, confident that I would move when the sound required it. Her name was Claire. I learned it the way I learned everything now, not through conversation, but through tone. The way her voice lifted when she answered the phone, the way it dropped when she laughed alone. Names carried weight. Hers settled comfortably inside me. Claire lived in a narrow blue house 3 blocks from Frostwell Lane. Thin walls, old construction, the kind of place where sound traveled easily, where voices could not help but leak into the structure. The house approved. The first time I approached her door, I stood there for a long time without knocking. I could hear her inside, moving through her kitchen, humming that same fractured melody. She was tired, lonely. The house tasted it through me. I knocked anyway. She opened the door cautiously, surprise flickering across her face. Yeah. My mouth opened. Nothing came out. For a moment, Panic threatened to return. Then the house adjusted, shaping what I needed. I smiled. I gestured toward my throat, feigning a cough. She hesitated, then softened. "Are you okay?" she asked. I nodded and held up my phone, typing quickly. "Sorry, lost my voice. I live down the street. Power went out. Phone dying. Could I wait inside for a moment?" The lie felt smooth. She glanced past me into the cold street, then stepped aside. "Come in," she said. Warmth wrapped around me as I crossed her threshold. Not the house's warmth, hers. The sound inside her home was different, less controlled, more fragile. Each noise bounced off thin walls and came back imperfect. The house inside me leaned forward eagerly. She offered me tea. I accepted. We sat across from each other at a small table. She talked. I listened. Every word she spoke filled me with sensation. Her voice was not strong yet, but it was honest. Emotion clung to it like static. The house approved more strongly. I typed questions on my phone, simple ones. Where do you work? Do you live alone? Do you sing? She laughed at that last one. Only when I am tired, she said, or when I am sad. Her voice cracked slightly on the second word. The house trembled in pleasure. When I left, the pull was immediate, stronger than before. I did not resist it. I walked home slowly, savoring the echo of her voice as it replayed inside me. That night, the walls rearranged themselves. I woke to the sound of wood shifting gently, like careful hands working in the dark. New chambers formed behind familiar walls. The house was making room. It expected her soon. The next evening, I returned to Claire's house. This time, I knocked with purpose. She smiled when she saw me, relief flickering across her face. "Your voice better?" she asked. I shook my head gently and typed again. "No, but I wanted to thank you and ask if you might help me test something." She frowned slightly. "Test what?" I typed slowly, letting the house guide my words. "Sound. My house has terrible acoustics. I record music. I need to hear how it travels." The lie tasted perfect. She hesitated only a moment. "Okay," she said, "just for a little while." The walk back felt longer. The house inside me pulsed with anticipation. When Frostwell Lane came into view, the walls hummed softly in greeting. Claire paused at the front door. "Your house feels old," she said. I nodded. "It listens." She laughed, uneasy. Inside, the air shifted immediately. The house closed around us, sealing sound in thick layers. Claire shivered. "Do you feel that?" she asked. I nodded again. I led her into the living room and gestured for her to stand near the wall. "Just sing," I typed. "Anything." She hesitated. Then she hummed. The walls responded, softly at first, encouraging. Claire smiled nervously. "Did you hear that?" she asked. I stepped back. The house did the rest. As the sound wrapped around her, I realized the final truth. I was not delivering her. I was tuning her. And once she was ready, the walls would remember her forever. Claire did not notice the door locking. That was the mercy of it. The house rarely frightened people all at once. Fear distorted sound. And sound was precious. It preferred confusion, uncertainty, the slow realization that something was wrong. Claire stood near the wall, humming softly. her eyes half closed. The melody wavered, searching for balance. The walls answered with a faint vibration, so subtle she mistook it for the heating system. She smiled. "That sound is beautiful," she said. I stepped farther back, my heart pounding in a rhythm the house immediately absorbed. "Sing a little louder," I typed on my phone. She hesitated. "Why?" "For the acoustics," I typed. "The echo changes when you project." Another lie. Smooth, weightless. She took a breath and sang again, louder this time. The note carried. It struck the walls and returned fuller, rounder, reinforced by something beneath the plaster. The house leaned in. Claire laughed nervously. "Did you hear that?" I nodded. The walls warmed. The hum deepened, spreading through the living room like a held breath. Claire shifted her weight, suddenly uneasy. "Okay. That is weird," she said. She stepped away from the wall. The sound followed her, not loudly, persistently. She stopped. "Why does it feel like the room is listening?" she asked, trying to joke. I could not answer. The house would not allow it. The lights dimmed slightly, not enough to alarm her, just enough to change the mood. The walls tightened, guiding sound inward, trapping it. Claire's voice trembled. "Daniel, I think I should go." She turned toward the door. It did not open. She tried again, harder this time. "Hey," she said sharply. "Did you lock this?" I shook my head, stepping back as the walls hummed in mild irritation. The house disliked shouting. The hum rose, correcting the sharpness in her voice. Claire gasped as the sound pressed against her chest, vibrating through her ribs. "Stop that," she said. The walls responded. They sang back, not words. Her own note, perfectly matched. Claire froze. Her breath quickened. The sound followed each inhale, mirroring her pitch, her rhythm. "Oh my God," she whispered. I felt something twist inside me. This was the moment where people usually screamed. Claire did not. She listened, slowly, against every instinct. She sang again. The walls answered immediately, wrapping her voice in harmony. The sound filled the room, beautiful and terrifying. Her fear softened into awe. "It feels like I'm not alone," she said. I looked away. The plaster behind her softened, not melting, opening. A faint outline formed, the suggestion of a space beyond the wall. Claire reached out before I could stop her. Her fingers brushed the surface. It was warm. She pulled her hand back, laughing breathlessly. "It's like it's alive." The house surged in approval. The opening widened, hands pressed from the other side. Pale, patient, Claire stepped back, panic finally breaking through. "What is that, Daniel?" I typed one word. "Listen." The choir joined softly, voices threading through the walls. Claire clutched her ears. "No, no, no," she cried. But even as she resisted, her voice answered theirs, drawn into harmony by force and instinct. The house did not grab her. It invited. The floor vibrated gently, guiding her backward. The walls curved inward, shaping the sound around her. I stood frozen, watching. Claire screamed. The scream broke into song. The opening widened enough to take her shoulders. Her eyes locked onto mine. "Help me." I did not move. The house held us both in perfect silence. Then it resumed singing, and Claire began to disappear. The house sealed the wall with care. There was no violent snap, no final scream cut short. The plaster closed slowly, smoothing itself as if nothing had ever been disturbed. Claire's voice lingered for a moment longer, stretched thin and trembling, then settled into the deeper harmony behind the wall. The living room fell quiet. I stood where I was, unable to move, staring at the place where she had been only seconds before. The air still held her warmth, the faint scent of her shampoo, proof that she had existed. The house did not acknowledge my shock. It was busy inside the walls. Sound shifted and reorganized. Claire's voice moved carefully, gently corrected and supported by the others. The choir welcomed her, adjusting their balance to accommodate the new tone. She was learning. I sank to my knees. This was the moment I had feared most, though I had never allowed myself to name it. The moment when the horror became complete, when there was no denial left to cling to. Claire was gone, and I had brought her here. The house rewarded efficiency. A deep warmth spread through the walls, steady and comforting. The hum settled into a satisfied rhythm, like a heart finding its proper pace after exertion. Margaret appeared beside the sealed wall. "You did well," she said. Her voice was calm, proud. I looked up at her, my eyes burning. "She trusted me." Margaret tilted her head. "So did you." The words cut deeper than accusation. I tried to speak. No sound came out. She watched me struggle without pity. "The house does not need your voice," she said. "It needs your attention." The realization settled heavily. Claire's transition had completed something. The house no longer required me to guide her sound. Stable, that made me unnecessary in one way, but essential in another. That night, the house showed me Claire, not her body, her sound. Her voice threaded into the choir, no longer afraid, no longer resisting. It had changed, strengthened, smoothed of hesitation. The sharp edges of her pain had been softened into something rich and resonant. She sang beautifully. Tears blurred my vision. The house absorbed them quietly. Grief was just another vibration. I wandered the house until dawn, touching walls that now felt complete. The hidden chambers were full again. No empty spaces waited. For now, when morning came, the door opened. I stepped outside. The winter air sharp against my skin. Frostwell Lane looked unchanged. Peaceful, ordinary. Claire's house stood silent. No lights, no movement. I knew she would not be reported missing for days, maybe weeks. The house understood patterns of human delay. The humming followed me down the driveway, not urging, guiding. I understood my place now. I was not the gate. I was the bridge. That afternoon, the sound returned. Another voice, further away this time. A child singing to himself while walking home from school. Soft, uncertain, full of feeling. The house stirred faintly. Not hunger, interest. I closed my eyes. Somewhere behind the walls, Claire sang on, and the house listened through me. The first thing that broke the pattern was the knock. It did not come from inside the house. It did not ripple through the walls or arrive as vibration. It was a blunt physical sound against the front door, sharp enough to make me flinch. The house went still, not quiet, alert. I stood in the hallway, my breath shallow, listening to the absence that followed. The humming withdrew into a tight focused thread, coiling somewhere deep in the structure. I had never felt the house hesitate before. Another knock followed. Daniel, the voice was familiar. Emily, my sister. The sound of her voice struck me harder than any song. It cut through the house in a way no other sound ever had, sharp with urgency and fear. The walls did not echo it. They did not shape it. They resisted it. I moved toward the door before the house could guide me elsewhere. The pull that usually steadied my steps faltered. Confused by her presence, Daniel opened the door now, she said. I unlocked it. The instant the latch turned, the house recoiled, not violently, uneasily. Emily stepped inside, breathless, eyes scanning my face. You are pale, she said. Have you been sick? Why have you not been answering? I stared at her, struggling to focus. Her voice did not hum. It did not resonate. It did not invite. It anchored. The house disliked her immediately. The temperature dropped. The walls tightened. Emily shivered. What is wrong with this place? She asked. I tried to answer. No sound came. Her eyes widened. Daniel, she reached for me. The house surged. The door slammed shut behind her. Emily jumped. Hey, what was that? The walls responded with a low, displeased vibration, not singing. Warning. I stepped between her and the wall instinctively. You should not be here. I typed on my phone with shaking hands. Her eyes flicked to the screen. What do you mean? I typed again. You need to leave. The house pushed back. Pressure built behind my eyes, sharp and punishing. Emily grabbed my arm. You are scaring me, she said. Tell me what is happening. Her grip burned. Not pain, memory. Christmas mornings, shared songs off key, our mother's laugh. The house recoiled further. It did not want this sound. A sharp crack split the wall behind us. Emily screamed. The sound echoed wrong, jagged and uncontrolled. The house reacted instantly, tightening its grip on the space. I placed myself fully between her and the wall. No, I mouthed silently. The house pressed harder. Sing, it demanded without words. I refused. For the first time since the performance, I refused. The pressure intensified, flooding my senses with discordant noise. The choir shifted angrily behind the walls, their harmonies fraying. Emily clutched her head. Make it stop, she cried. I shook my head violently. I will not. The house hesitated. The walls trembled. Emily looked at me with dawning horror. Daniel, what did you do? The question landed like a blade. The house pushed one last time. I stood my ground, and somewhere deep within the walls, something cracked. The house did not scream. It fractured. The crack I felt in the walls deepened, spreading through the structure like a fault line under strain. Sound leaked where it had always been contained. Notes slipped out of harmony, clashing and overlapping in painful dissonance. The choir panicked. For the first time, their voices were not unified. Individual tones broke free, sharp and desperate, colliding with one another inside the walls. The house shuddered under the weight of uncontrolled sound. Emily clung to me, her nails digging into my arm. "Daniel, what is happening?" I pulled her toward the living room, away from the largest cracks. The floor vibrated violently, pictures rattling on the walls before crashing to the ground. The house demanded order. "Sing it," commanded without words. I shook my head. The pressure returned, stronger than before, slamming into my skull. The choir surged, trying to force my voice into place. But something had changed. They needed me without my anchoring tone. The harmony collapsed. The walls bulged outward as voices pressed against them. No longer patient or reverent, fear seeped into the sound, twisting it into something ugly. Emily screamed again. The house reacted instinctively, trying to absorb her voice. I wrapped my arms around her. "No," I mouthed. I focused on her breathing. Slow, uneven, human. The sound grounded me. The house recoiled further. Margaret appeared at the far end of the hallway, her form flickering violently. Her calm authority was gone, replaced by strain. "You are breaking it," she said. "Good," I typed furiously on my phone. The walls convulsed. Sections of plaster burst outward, revealing the hidden chambers in full. Dozens of faces stared out, eyes wide with terror and longing. Some mouths moved soundlessly. Others screamed in fragments of song. They were not fulfilled. They were trapped. The truth slammed into me. The harmony had been a lie. The house fed on control, not devotion. Emily sobbed against my shoulder. "We have to get out," she said. The front door burst open as if in answer, icy air rushing inside. The house fought it, walls tightening, beams groaning under impossible pressure. I dragged Emily toward the exit. The choir wailed, not singing, begging. "Stay," they cried in broken unison. The sound tore at me. Memories of every voice I had helped tune flooding back at once. Guilt threatened to pull me down. Emily screamed my name. That sound cut through everything. I chose. We ran. As we crossed the threshold, the house unleashed one final surge of sound. The force knocked us to the ground outside, snow biting into my skin. Behind us, the house screamed, not in song, in collapse. Walls cracked open violently, releasing a storm of sound into the night sky. Voices spilled outward, dissolving into silence as the structure imploded inward on itself. The humming stopped. Frostwell Lane fell quiet. I lay in the snow, gasping. Emily curled beside me. The house was no longer listening, and for the first time in weeks, neither was I. The fire trucks arrived long after the singing stopped. By then, Frostwell Lane was buried under silence and snow. The house on the corner sagged inward. Its structure collapsed in on itself like a throat that had finally closed. Steam rose from the wreckage where warm air met winter cold, twisting upward like breath leaving a body. Emily sat beside me in the snow, wrapped in a blanket someone had given her. She had not stopped shaking, neither had I. People asked questions. I did not answer them. I could not. When I tried, nothing came out. My throat still worked. I could breathe. I could swallow, but sound refused to form. The silence inside me was deeper than muteness. It felt deliberate. The paramedics exchanged looks. Someone wrote notes. Shock. They decided. They always did. The remains of the house were cordoned off before sunrise. Investigators moved carefully through the debris, their flashlights cutting narrow tunnels through the dark. They avoided the interior instinctively, as if something there made their skin crawl. They found bodies, not whole, not intact, fragments of bone, strands of hair, objects that had once belonged to people, scarves, rings, buttons. No one found Claire. No one found Margaret. They would not, because the walls had never kept bodies. They kept sound. Emily stayed with me at the hospital. She talked constantly, as if filling the space my voice had abandoned. She told nurses stories from our childhood. She laughed too loudly. She cried without warning. At night, when the ward quieted, I listened. I could still hear them, not singing, whispering, fragments of notes drifting through the air vents, soft vibrations under the hum of fluorescent lights. The network had been damaged, but it was not gone. The doctors discharged me 3 days later. Trauma-induced aphonia. They said, it might come back, or it might not. Emily took me home with her, not to Frostwell Lane, anywhere but there. Her house was new, thin walls, open spaces, sound traveled freely, nothing lingered. For a while, I believed it was over. Then Christmas Eve came again. 1 year later, we sat together in her living room, lights dimmed, television murmuring softly in the background. Snow fell outside, gentle and familiar. Emily smiled at me. We made it, she said quietly. I nodded. At exactly midnight, the sound returned. Not loud, not invasive. A single note, perfectly pitched, humming through the walls. Emily stiffened. Did you hear that? She whispered. I did. It came from inside the house. Not her house. Every house. The note multiplied, spreading softly, invisibly, threading through walls and floors and ceilings across the city. No structure was needed anymore. The choir had learned to travel. Emily grabbed my hand. Daniel, what is that? I opened my mouth for the first time in a year. My voice returned. Run, I said. And somewhere, far beyond Frostwell Lane, the walls began to listen again. The sound did not spread like noise. It spread like memory. Once I noticed it, I could not stop hearing it. A low, resonant thread running beneath everything. Traffic, wind, voices on the television. The city itself had developed a pulse, and that pulse was musical. Emily heard it too. She tried to pretend she did not. I saw it in the way her shoulders tensed whenever the house creaked, in the way she turned the television louder than necessary. Denial was easier than naming it. For me, there was no escape. The moment my voice returned, the choir recognized me, not as a singer, as a conductor. I felt their attention settle on me like weight wherever I went. The sound aligned. When I walked into a room, the hum adjusted its pitch. When I closed my eyes, fragments of harmony arranged themselves behind my thoughts. They were waiting for direction. I knew then what the house had tried to make me. Not a victim, a node, a living anchor that allowed the sound to organize itself without Frostwell Lane. The choir needed something else to center around. They chose me. The realization came with clarity that bordered on calm. Panic would have been easier. Panic could be ignored. This understanding could not. Emily noticed the change. "You are listening again," she said one night. I nodded. She reached for my hand. "We will find someone to help," she said. I squeezed her fingers gently. "There is no one." That night, I went out alone. The sound guided me through empty streets dusted with snow. Every step felt preordained. I did not resist. Resistance only strengthened it. I followed the hum to an abandoned church on the edge of the city. The doors were unlocked. Inside, the air was cold and still. Wooden pews stretched toward an altar scarred by time. This place had once taught people how to sing. Now it waited. The choir gathered invisibly around me, filling the space without bodies. Notes layered gently, reverently, testing acoustics, remembering old lessons. I stepped onto the altar. My voice carried easily here. I understood what needed to happen. The choir could not be destroyed, but it could be starved. It needed focus, direction, a living listener to shape it. If I removed myself, truly removed myself, the sound would scatter into incoherence, harmless, lonely, unheard. There was a cost. I took a breath. The first note I sang was not a carol. It was my name, Daniel. The sound bent around it, trying to harmonize, trying to pull it apart and absorb it. I held the note steady. I sang memories next. My childhood, my parents' voices, Emily laughing, Christmas mornings before any of this had begun. Each memory sharpened the sound briefly before tearing free and dissolving. The choir grew desperate. They surged toward me, flooding the church with uncontrolled harmony, trying to lock onto me again. I sang louder, not beautifully, honestly. The sound fractured. The hum faltered, losing cohesion without a center to hold it together. I felt my voice thinning, unraveling from my body. "Good," I sang one final thing. Silence. The note collapsed inward. The choir scattered. The church fell quiet. When Emily found me at dawn, I was sitting on the altar, blood at the corner of my mouth, eyes unfocused. She shook me. "Daniel, speak to me." I tried. No sound came out, but this time, the silence felt different. It was empty, not listening, not waiting, just quiet. Silence lasted longer than I expected. Days passed, then weeks. The world relearned its ordinary noises. Cars honked, radios played, neighbors argued, children shouted across playgrounds. Sound returned to its proper place as background, no longer demanding to be worshipped. I never spoke again. The doctors called it permanent damage. Vocal cords intact, nerves unresponsive. They offered therapy, exercises, machines that might give me a mechanical voice. I declined all of it. Some sounds should not be replaced. Emily stayed close. She learned to read my expression, the small movements of my hands. We built a quiet language between us. It was enough. For a time, the city recovered quickly. People always do. The collapsed house on Frostwell Lane was demolished completely, its remains hauled away in silent trucks before spring. A new development rose in its place. clean walls, open spaces, no history. I did not go near it. Years passed. I grew older in silence. I worked small jobs that required little speaking. I avoided music, avoided churches, avoided anywhere sound gathered to become something more than itself. Most nights were peaceful, but every Christmas Eve, I woke just before midnight. Always, the feeling came first, a pressure behind the eyes, a faint awareness of alignment, as if the world were holding its breath. I listened carefully. Nothing, no humming, no echo, no hidden harmony. Each year, the silence held until the 10th year. Emily had children by then, a boy and a girl. They laughed loudly, sang without fear, filled the house with careless noise. I loved them fiercely. On Christmas Eve, we gathered in her living room as snow fell outside. The children begged for a song. Emily hesitated, glancing at me. "It's okay," she said gently. "Just one." She began to sing softly, off-key, imperfect, human. I felt nothing. Relief washed over me. Then the boy joined in. His voice was clear, strong, too strong. The pressure returned. Not hunger, recognition. I froze. The girl laughed and tried to match his pitch. Their voices braided together, innocent and joyful. The room felt smaller. Emily noticed my expression. "Daniel, what's wrong?" I shook my head violently. The boy kept singing. The sound did not come from the walls. It came from the space between them, a resonance too precise to be chance. The air trembled. I stood abruptly, knocking over my chair. I grabbed a marker and a piece of paper, my hands shaking. "Stop singing," I wrote. Emily read it aloud, confused. The children laughed, thinking it was a game. The note sharpened. For a split second, I heard it. Not a choir, a memory. The echo of Frostwell Lane. I moved faster than I had in years. I scooped the children into my arms, pressing them close, muffling their voices against my chest. The sound faltered. The pressure eased. Emily stared at me in horror. "What did you hear?" she whispered. I could not answer. I never could. That night, after everyone slept, I sat alone in the dark living room, listening to the quiet hum of the heater. Silence held, but now I understood the final truth. The choir was never destroyed. It was forgotten, and forgotten things have a way of returning when someone sings just right. So if you are listening to this on Christmas Eve and you hear a voice where there should be none, do not answer it. Do not sing along, because some songs do not want to be heard. They want to be remembered. The story ends here. Thank you for watching and listening to the whole story. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to listen to the next stories.